Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to the Lionel Travel Podcast. This is episode 10. We're currently in Nairobi, Kenya, having finished a 10-day...
A 10-day.
Yeah, 10-day East Africa tour in Kenya and Tanzania. I am joined by two of my tour mates. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Hi guys, I'm Dominic. I'm from Vietnam, and I'm a retired poker player. So now I also have some time to travel around, and like I was just also finished like the tour with Lionel, and now we are here like after the trip.
Yeah.
Okay, so me myself, my name is Mudhyan. I'm from Saudi Arabia. I work as a head of business development in one of the companies in the energy sector in Saudi Arabia. I basically love to travel, and I was eager to visit Africa, and that's why I chose this tour.
Mm-hmm. Great. So going into this tour, well, we started actually in this same hotel where we're recording the podcast, and there were 15 of us tour members in total, plus Raymond or Dolly, who was our tour leader, Evie, who was our chef, and Charles, who was our driver. So 18 of us in total, and yeah, just went on this wild journey through the safaris, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
I
agree. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was basically done using this truck, this Mercedes-Benz truck that has a seat of 24 people.
Yeah.
We were 18. And it's just a monster car.
It's a beast.
It's a beast. It just keeps driving, and we had no issues with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from one place to another, from one country to another.
Yeah. What did you think about the transport situation, Dom?
I think like it's a little bit better than I thought, because like at first before the trip I didn't really read the instructions and stuff, so like I told you guys here, like I didn't really have any expectation. It's were really like last minute decision. Like Tara, who invited me to the trip, like she and her mother also like didn't think that I will make it to the last minute. And like I didn't know where we went to, seriously. And I thought that like we are going on a bus kind of thing, like some bus, like normal bus with stuff like that. But like I was really surprised when I was on the truck. Like it has like most of like already like convenient things that you need for daily like life. For example, like water, like a locker. And
power
like
outlets.
Power, electricity, and like it's just like very comfortable. It's much better than I thought, because like I thought we will be like put on some kind of small bus with like a very hard like access to electricity and stuff.
Right.
It was amazing. It's not like a bus, because it's like full of glass, and you can see everything. Is really designed for overland.
Purpose-built.
Designed for purpose-built. Designed for safaris, so you can view. And it was amazing. It was amazing. Much better than I expected. But I personally chose it because of that track. I mean, coming from Saudi Arabia, I very much love camping. But we don't get to do it that often, because we have a very short season for it. It basically starts by end of November, beginning of February. So I don't get the chance basically to do these camping things. And I specifically chose a camping trip using this vehicle because I thought it will be something unique that I've never done before, and it just exceeded my expectation. It was unique, and it just works. It really works.
How did you know like this kind of tour like in Trebek?
Well, I looked online. What are the best companies? I mean, going with a group was always like was always an option, but I was really hesitant to go with a group because, I mean, sometimes when you go solo or you go with a friend, it's just what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
But with a group, it's just there is a secret ingredient. There's an element that you don't know about. There's so much uncertainty. Who are you gonna be with? Are they gonna be people who don't have that energy, or maybe they say, okay, we're done, let's end it now or end it here. It's just you don't know the people who are you going to be with.
Yeah.
So I was always hesitant to do it with a group. But I wanted to go to see Africa. It's one of the few continents that I've never seen. And I knew that it had to be with a group. So I searched online and I found that basically Intrepid was one of the best. I actually did use ChatGPT to compare Intrepid and NG Adventures, and it really, I mean, it gives me basically the gist of these two companies. But mainly, I used one website. It's called Tour Radar.
Yeah.
It's basically you go and it just gives you all of the tours that are offered by all the tour companies.
Yeah.
And Intrepid just had always consistently 5-star reviews, and even the trips that I wanted to go to usually get sold out quickly. So I thought there must be a reason for this, and that's why I just took the leap and just chose the trip with Intrepid, basically in East Africa between Kenya and Tanzania.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So our first day, like full day, we head to a Maasai village.
Yes.
And I mean, yeah, what were your guys' thoughts about the village and, touring the area, meeting Helen?
Yeah, so I think that experience was very, very interesting. It was just the start of the trip.
Yeah.
And we arrived to basically a Maasai village that has a very interesting story. It's basically a village, or say the main attraction is the village, but then there is lodging next to it, which is basically designed as the way the Maasai villages are designed. I mean, we met Helen. Basically, she's the founder of all of it.
Yeah.
It's basically it is a lodge that she created for the people who usually sponsor Maasai widows and Maasai kids in their schools, in their life in general. So sometimes these people who sponsor these kids and sponsor these families, they come after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to see the people who they have sponsored, to see where the money is going, to see the schools. And they usually, whenever they stay in the village, they would get really sick because the conditions of the village is not really designed for people who are living in the comforts of life. So usually these sponsorees would go to stay in the lodges in the park itself. But the park itself is just very expensive to be in. Right. Aside from the cost of the accommodation itself, there is a 200 USD a day for anybody who uses the village. So that money is really wasted because these people are going to these accommodations in the park, and they just don't care about the game drives. They're not there for the animals. They are there to come and basically see where their money is going in terms of the contributions that they are doing. Yeah. So Helen, what she did is she created this village lodge for them when they come. So, and we were fortunate that she says that how did Intrepid actually come about to find Helen is that one truck broke down in the middle of a big rainstorm, and they were looking with the tourists that they have, with the people who are on the tour, they were looking for an accommodation. And every time they asked, they said, "Oh, Helen has a place that you guys can be in." Yeah. And then they came and they met Helen, and she opened the lodges for them. And they asked, "How much is it?" She said, "It's for free. Yeah. Just come and just you can stay in it. It's no problem." And then they've reached to an agreement, and now it is the first stop in the trip, which is basically visiting this Maasai village. We visited the actual Maasai village next to it, which is basically all made up of widows that are making these jewelries,
Yeah.
the Masai design jewelries, and there is also a school
Mhm.
right next to it. So it was very, very interesting to see how people live and how basically Intrepid and Helen and the contribution that the people are giving to Helen is basically improved the quality of life for these people, from giving them light that is based on solar and so on. Yeah, it's just very, very interesting as a first stop. And once we began there, and the way they greeted us with the singing and the dancing and so on,
Yeah.
it was just an excellent way to start the trip. Yeah.
True. It was a good taster of the culture and what was to come. So yeah, Dom, did you have any?
I would share my personal perspective on this.
Yeah.
I think before we really talk to people at Helen village. At first I thought it's kind of a touristy kind of things, because I was a little bit different. My journey is start in Zanzibar, 10 days before our trip start.
Yeah.
So we was there, and we basically we saw a lot of Maasai guys in Zanzibar, and most of them trying to sell things to you, some touristy things like souvenirs and stuff, and they were kind of very, aggressive in some way, that they only chase you, try to sell you things, and there are a lot of them over there.
Right.
So before the trip, I didn't really have a good idea about who are Maasai people, and I just say, oh, these are people who trying to sell you things.
Okay.
And I did a little research about things, there's some of the custom that they do with children, for example, they have to do the genital surgery.
Mutilation.
Yeah. And then that's the only thing that I know about them.
Yeah.
So when we first came to the village, I think because I already hold some of my prejudice in terms of that, so I think, oh, maybe this is just another
A tourist trap.
the tourist trap that these people they try to sell things and stuff, but until the very moment that we came to the village, we saw a lot of children who very playful, innocent, and oh, this is different. This is real Maasai people. This is not people who trying to set up something to sell us and stuff like that. And it's really the moment that we talked to the girl, one of the girl that in the group that guided her to
I believe her name was Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria.
Yeah.
And she showed us her home. And at first I thought she was just another kind of agent, the people who try to sell stuff like that.
Agency.
And then I asked how old are you, and then she told her own story about why she worked here, because she used to be rescued by Helen.
Yeah.
She and her mother, she was rescued when she was very little, and then her father wanted to do the genital surgery, and wanted her to get married at 11. And then so her mom took her away and want to flee from her father, and then they was rescued by Helen. And at that moment I know, oh, this is real. This is not something that people just make up, build a fake village and try to sell things, try to ask for donation, because I don't want to overgeneralize things, but there are some people who doing bad things. But at that moment where she told that story, I have a complete change my point of view, because I know, okay, this is real. This is not like something that just built up beyond fake story.
Yes.
And then like I changed my complete view.
I think maybe we didn't mention who is Helen actually. Yeah, I think Helen, just for everyone who is listening, is basically Helen. She's a Maasai lady. She went through the FGM surgery, the female genital mutilation surgery, when she was 9, and she was married to a 75-year-old man when she was 11. And basically, it was a forced marriage by her family. And what happens usually with Maasai is when a man marries a woman, the man basically gives 3 cows and 1 goat in exchange for marrying the woman. And in the case of there is going to be a divorce, or even if the man dies, the lady doesn't go back to her family. She stays as basically member of the family of the man.
Yeah.
And in the case of Helen, when her husband died, she wanted to go back to her family. She wanted to marry again, and she wanted to also go to school.
Yeah.
But they refused, because her family is supposed to return not only the 3 cows and goat, but also all the children of these 3 cows and goats. And it's just something at that point in time, it's just impossible for a family to do. It's very expensive, something to do. So basically, that's what Helen did. So the Helen just, I would say, rebelled on this situation, and she went to school, and she taught herself until she reached a level where she actually became a teacher, teaching in a school for Maasai girls. And basically she met these people who are sponsoring the village and the school and the rescued children and so on. Yeah, it's just, for me, it was important to understand who is Helen. Because we talked a lot about
sure. Just to add a bit on Victoria's story, because I was with Dom when she explained things, but since being rescued, she's now gone through education up until high school. So she's graduated high school, and she's aspiring to be either a graphic designer or an architect, which, if you think about, if she stayed down the traditional Maasai route, would never even be a possibility. So, I mean, I think we all were, after she told the story, were just blown away by it.
It's just amazing. Intrepid basically allows you to contribute to this story and to this village and so on. It's very, very important aspect, I think, from traveling, because you need to be responsible. You need to be, let's say, to have a positive impact on the people you're actually visiting. And just by doing this tour, you can actually do that.
Feels good.
It was very interesting.
Great. And after camping overnight in the campgrounds, the following day, we end up going to the Masai Mara National Park. And that day was amazing. Like the sheer amount of animals that we saw. And I mean, do you want to start us off, Dom?
Before the trip, because I didn't do any research or nothing. So when we first went through the gate of Masai Mara, the national park, and then I didn't know. I thought we did some game drive, and I asked basically Tia for how the trip usually go and stuff like that, and she told me about her experience in out of country like Zambia, Zimbabwe, and she went on 3 weeks of game driving already. But in other trips that she said it driving all day, 10 hours, 12 hours a day, and then not a lot of animal on the way, and there's some, but not all days, and sometimes she talked about that is that sometimes they see animal and they told the driver to stop, they didn't even do that. The first our first game drives, he was so surprised that like the driver, like they stop every time that we want to see an interesting animal, and also like he had a lot of knowledge to share about
Yeah.
the animal, like how they eat, how they mate, how old, like what is the average age of any animal, and why is they like this, like what is this tree, like what is it tree for, stuff like that.
Right.
And like we were really surprised by the quality of like the driver, and also like right from the gate you can already see like a lot of zebras and leopard and like
the leopard.
yeah.
The leopard. Yeah.
And then like at first I thought, oh, it would be difficult to see like lion, leopard, like elephant. Maybe we have to try hours to see one of them. But like I was really surprised by like the first like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I think,
I think that day was so amazing that it just was very, very difficult for any mood in the group members to be ruined, because it just filled us with so much positivity. Once we came to the Masai Mara, I remember our driver, his name is Duncan, and he said, when we saw the zebras and at the gate, he said, I have a surprise.
Yeah.
Each time we would go to see an animal, he said, I have a surprise for you. And then in the middle of the way, he would say, it starts with the letter L. And then just 5 minutes from entering the park, we were able to see basically one of the most elusive, one of the most difficult animals to actually spot in any park. Which is basically people. I mean, there are people who do game drives for 3 weeks and see no leopards, basically. And we were able to see leopard just right in front of our eyes. I think it just finished the kill and they're just walking around and to digest some of the food. So it was really amazing. And that day I was telling everyone that the sequence of sightings of animals is just unbelievable. Yeah. From leopards to cheetahs to elephants to lions. So it's just everything is organized in a way that is just keeps getting better and better, honestly.
Like, almost as if it was staged.
Yes. Yeah. So we were really extremely happy. And I think that's one of the cool things about the Masai Mara. Is basically it's just not as big as the Serengeti, which was a part of our trip. Yeah. But actually it is to our advantage because it's small. It allows you to see much more animals in a smaller area. Yeah. So we were extremely lucky with the animal sightings. And I have to say something, and even though this will make me very, very naive, but I honestly, when I booked the trip, I was more excited about the camping, about the car, about just being in Africa. The least thing I was excited about was the game drives. Right. Because I just was thinking, I mean, it's an animal. I mean, you can go see it in the zoo. But just the experience of basically mixing this landscape and seeing animals in their natural habitat. Yeah. It's just unbelievable. It's just each game drive, you just fall in love with it even more. And many parts of the group member, they said, we could do this for 1 week, for 10 days straight, just seeing game drives or just trying to find animals all the time. And everybody was like in the group, right, was competing. Yeah. Who is going to see the next lion? Who's going to see the next leopard or cheetah or baboon or ostrich and so on? Yeah.
It was surreal. And I mean, not only our drivers, but the crew as well. They were like, this is not a common thing. Yeah. Seeing this amount of variety on the first day, we were extremely lucky.
Yeah, we were spoiled. We were spoiled because, I mean, we had 2 days in the Masai Mara, and we basically saw almost everything in the first day. The only thing we didn't see was the rhino. That's it. Yeah. So we were spoiled, but we were actually even luckier because we saw even more animals the second day in a different setting, in a different natural habitat, and it was just really amazing. And I have to add something that even though the crew, the Evie, Raymond, and Charles, it is something. This is basically their job, but they were as excited as us to go and see these animals because going to the Masai Mara, we went with jeeps. No, we didn't go with the truck because it's just much easier to navigate the small roads of the Masai Mara with jeeps that are basically they picked us up in the gates of the park. And we were lucky the second day that the crew actually joined us, the chef and the driver. And I was with one of them in the car. They were all very excited as us. So it just adds to the magic. This is really something magical, and we were really, really fortunate to be there and to see these animals and just to see this beauty that exists. Yeah.
It was, I believe it was Evie's first game drive, actually.
Ah.
Yeah, so everything was new to her.
Yeah. She's Kenyan, and we're in Kenya, going to the Masai Mara.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's her EV first time?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh, interesting. Why didn't they see John before?
It's expensive.
No,
Yeah.
but I thought like they are crew member.
Oh, but she
That's-
hasn't worked for Intrepid for very long.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 2 years. She's having 3 years.
And then Dolly was the one that advocated for her to join.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, I mean, she's the chef, basically.
Yeah.
People would expect to come back immediately to find dinner ready, but we were all, I mean, we came back on time and we all had an amazing dinner. Yeah. Yeah, so we did it twice, right? We did
Yes.
it the first day and then we did it also the second day. And the
day.
second day was the highlight was the ostriches, right?
Okay, we should probably mention, well, at least for Moody and my car, we had a guy called James, and he was taking photos of the male genitalia of the animals on the game drives, and I coined the term. Well, there's this term known as the Big Five, which are the 5 animals that people most want to see when they're in the safari.
No, actually, that's term we refer to the Big Five.
Yeah.
The actual term is to refer to not the biggest 5 anymore, but like the most difficult 5 to hunt on land.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, I think it's the most popular.
Because like I went to a museum and it's to Nairobi National Museum.
Yeah.
And it's when the Big 5 like represent for like the most like difficult one
To hunt.
on land, including elephant, lion, leopard,
Buffaloes.
African buffalo, and
rhino.
rhinos. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so the term that I coined was the phallic 5, which is basically just James's attempt at trying to capture 5 male genitalia of the animals that we came across.
Yeah.
And the first one that we did was, of course, an elephant. And I just remember, I didn't even realize at first, but then for a second you're just like, why does it have 5 legs?
and an interesting fact that I heard about like genitalia of elephant.
Yeah.
Because like normally a lot of time when people see an elephant in some for example zoo setting or like some like circus or like some like area that they allow tourists to interact with like elephant.
Yeah.
Most of the time we are interacting with like female elephant.
Right.
Because they said that it's easier to train and like they don't really get like
Aggressive.
mood swing and they don't really get aggressive. So normally people won't see penis of an elephant.
Right.
Like, so first I didn't know about that. Like, so like it's rarely for you to see a cock of an elephant. and then like I also after I see that things and I read about that and I also saw it like elephant very flexible with his
Second trunk.
second trunk. It can use it to like scratch it.
Oh yeah.
To scratch itself.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it also can use for other things. It very flexible with its like junk. Like, it can like use to like sweep away like insect. It can use to scratch its things, and like it also very flexible. And it's also interesting fact that I know about like elephant. I didn't know that before because all the time when
It's just female elephants.
yeah, it's just female elephants, and like we didn't see how big it is.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Multi-purpose tool.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add, Moody?
Yeah, I think in the Masai Mara also something to add is one of the unique things, in my opinion, about the trip itself is basically the camps that we stayed in. For me, it was really interesting, just being in the middle of a tent in the middle of nature. And in the first camp, like I remember I woke up at 4 a.m. with the sounds of basically hyenas in the camp of the Masai Mara. So it's just really interesting and just really makes it very exciting.
Yeah.
I think we also something maybe we didn't mention, just basically by doing it this camping style, when I think about it now, it just makes the group much closer, right? It's not like in a hotel, in a hotel room where each one can stay in their hotel room, even if it's 2 people in the hotel room. It just makes it easy for you to stay in the room and just relax or watch your phone or whatever. But doing it this camping style, because tents, it's not the place really to stay in. It's just a place to sleep and just store your things and so on. So you have to go and stay in the common area. So that even, I think, one of the main reasons is just we had so much fun with the group. I think the group dynamics was just unbelievable.
It was.
Yeah. So this is something really I'm sharing. And also sharing the meal as well. I mean, one of the most unbelievable things, maybe this is something to mention now, is that this is mainly the works of Intrepid as well, and works of the crew, is basically I was telling the people that we in Saudi Arabia, we love camping and we go to camping a lot, but probably in one camping trip that we go to, we create waste more than the 15 people or the 18 people in this group has created in 10 days.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. You bring your own water bottle, so you don't use these disposable, single-use plastic water bottles. We use dishes that we are able to wash and clean, and it's just unbelievable. It really works. It really works, and it really works only because the 15 people or the 18 people in the group, each one is contributing to this. By basically, we have, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but each person at least has 2 days where he's dedicated to do the washing. Yeah. So this is really, and for me, it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The trash can every day is so small, and the non-organic stuff is barely noticeable compared to the organic stuff. I mean, from the remaining of the food and so on. It's just unbelievable how little waste we have created in the past 10 days from an 18 people trip. This for me just adds to the joy, adds to the enjoyment, adds to the satisfaction that comes with this trip.
Do you guys know that Tanzania completely banned the use of plastic bag? Do you guys know?
Oh, really?
No.
That's one of like an interesting fact that I didn't know. But like when my flight from because like we crossed the border by the land border, so like nobody really informed us about that. And then like, but when I was flying from Vietnam to Zanzibar, the crew the flight crew, they informed us that we must get rid of every plastic bag that we have before we leave the airport, because the airport was the only place that you are allowed to have a plastic bag with you.
Wow.
It's not only like you cannot sell or trade plastic bag, but like you will get like fined if you like have a plastic bag found on you like when you are in Tanzania. That's also interesting fact that I figure out.
Great fact.
So that's why we don't see any like plastic bag on our trip.
And that's why I think one of the reasons is basically the 2 countries that we visited, the places that we visited, it's much cleaner than I thought. The Masai Mara had basically not a single trash that I've seen, at least. And even we've seen something very interesting is that our driver, when we were driving in the park, suddenly he stopped. We thought something wrong with the car, but he just went down and he saw like a
bottle, yeah.
And then he just took it and just put it on his side. We took it, and when we exited the park, he just threw it in the trash can. So it's just unbelievable how clean it is because of these policies and because
people also like have very good awareness about like how they have to protect the environment and the wild animal, because like they keep saying when we visit the Masai Mara, they used to have like some of their tradition and their religion that they need to kill a lion to like finish their warriorhood and stuff like that. But like they keep repeating that like we no longer have any animal, because like they are very important to our livelihood. It brings tourists and it brings the income, and it a sustainable way to live with environment and animal and stuff. So I think like people in these two countries are very aware of like the animal, and they really do it. You know what I mean? A lot of like, I think a lot of other countries, they may say they care about the environment and we should do this, we should do that, but some countries they don't really do it. It's just a motto, like a slogan that an agenda they want to push, but I don't see the spirit of like people doing here, because exactly like Moody said, like a lot of the time like drivers just stop to pick up like small trash like appear like randomly on the road, and it's just like really amazed me, because like how like the awareness of like people about like the environment. And I think one thing also like I think a lot of like other country, like a lot of like developing country, like for example from my country, for example Vietnam, like or like some other like maybe like developed or developing or underdeveloped country, they usually say that the environmental thing is just the easiest in some developed country like the Europe, because like they already very rich, they have high quality of life, they have very high living standard, so they try to push the protecting environment agenda. But like we are barely survive with our income. How can we care about environment? We need to care about earth first, about human first. But like we came to a African country and we know that they already they struggle with their life and income and the development of their country, but they still care about the environment. They are not making like their living standard as an excuse to to take advantage of the environment and like to get the benefit for themselves.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting also to understand exactly why the abundance of wildlife that exists in Kenya. I think in Kenya, also in Tanzania, it's just because of the Maasai. I think one of the reasons is because of the Maasai. The Maasai lived hand in hand with these wild animals, but they have a unique way of life where they basically herd their own cows and herd their own sheep. So they didn't really need to hunt many of these wild animals. And they just found a way to live side by side with them, and it's just really interesting. Really interesting. Well, I mean, it goes back to one of the stories that we have back home in Saudi Arabia. I think with how fast the country was developing, people really, I mean, didn't really put a lot of value and a lot of emphasis on this wildlife and how important it is. And one of the things that we've seen is that we had cheetahs that exist within the Arabian Peninsula, but they got extinct 40 or 50 years ago. And luckily, a group of hikers actually found a cave where basically they found the skeleton of 15 or 20 cheetahs in a cave that was well preserved because of how the conditions in the cave. And we were fortunate to take the DNA test of these bones that are found, and we found a close match to a cheetah that exists in one African country. I'm not sure, it could be Tanzania. It's the closest match, or Namibia, since the environment is very similar to Saudi Arabia with the deserts. And we were fortunate that the closest genetic match cheetah was found in this African country, who were able to actually preserve it. And we made an agreement with this country, and we took some of the cheetahs, so we reintroduced them into the wild. Wow. Cheetahs and leopards as well. Right. So it's really interesting. So we are seeing it back, and it's good. It's good that we are also benefiting from how these African countries are putting an emphasis on this wildlife and how important it is.
Conservation.
Conservation, and they understand this is really very important also for the livelihood of people, because this is what brings in tourists. This unique aspect of seeing these animals in their natural habitat. They're very, very beautiful animals that gives you really a beautiful experience. Yeah,
for sure.
And I also think like one of the interesting thing that I just realized after this trip is that I am just kidding with like tell when I saying like these animals are very lucky that they live in Africa, because like people here, like for example like Maasai people, they in their religion they already believe that they should not like eat like wild animal. They only eat and consume the animal that they raise by themselves. And it's really interesting because like I think like just based on their like ancient like religion, they already like don't want to harm like innocent animal who live in their wild habitat. And it's very interesting to me because like you think what happened to, for example, Asia, like they eat everything. Sorry to say that. I came from a country that they basically eat anything that move. So like it's impossible in our country to to reserve this amount of animal, this number of animal, because like it's unbelievable. Like we see millions of like animals like out there. This is like and also like even in some like more developed country like European, like American and stuff. I think like because like the urbanization, like the development of cities and stuff like that, so they have to develop their living area and stuff. So even if they don't intentionally eat the animal, they're destroying the environment and habitat of them. So like there's no way for them to live and to develop with this number of animal. I'm sure that like, although I'm not been to many other country, for example, but like I don't believe anywhere on this earth that reserve like this number of animals, because like I was so amazed by the number of animals, especially in Tanzania. It's like unbelievable on our drive to our national to conserve animal conserve. Like it like 40 minutes straight of like I cannot count maybe millions of like zebra and wildebeest. This is like I can't believe in my eyes when I see like the number. It's just like so weird. Like everywhere you see like there are thousands of things. At first I thought, how can each game drive be different from each other? Like the first 2 days I thought, we already seen everything. What are we looking for? What else we are looking for? But when we arrive in Tanzania, it's just like, what the fuck is this? Like, how many animals is this? It's just like,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think we were in the Masai Mara. When we visited, we were lucky. We saw all the animals that we would hope to see. But also it wasn't the high season, right? It was. The great migration of the wildebeest and the zebras and the animals that comes with it has already passed. They've already moved on to basically to the Serengeti and the other areas. So, the Dong is mentioning basically the amount of animals, and this is basically nothing. And compared to basically when it comes to the great migration. The great migration, only the wildebeest and the zebras they amount to 3.3 million animals just moving from one area to another. So it was really unbelievable. And going back to basically Tanzania, for me, just when we crossed to Tanzania, I just knew I was completely wrong. I was completely wrong in my hesitation to book the trip, and I was completely wrong in my perception or my thinking of what is Tanzania. Tanzania now to me is one of the most beautiful countries I've ever been. The landscape, how it's varied, and basically it's just like a magazine of how beautiful it is. And we crossed, right? We moved when we done with the Masai Mara. We moved and we passed also the tea plantations in Kenya. So I understood Kenya was as luscious and green because they have some tea, but I mean what I've seen there is just unbelievable. The beauty and the Kisa city with basically the carving of the rocks. It's just unbelievable. And then we've arrived to Lake Victoria, which is basically one of the largest lakes. It's endless as far as the eye can see. And it's basically one of the fascinating facts is that we are in Kenya, we're in East Africa, and this lake actually is the lake that feeds the Nile, which is basically responsible for the livelihood of hundreds of millions of people across many countries, from Egypt to Sudan to these other countries, Uganda and so on. So it was just unbelievable how varied the landscape is. So I mean the lake itself, we had a very good experience, but it could have been, I think, in my opinion, it could have been a little bit better. But overall we were also fortunate to basically try the fish in the lake. I mean, the lake is known for many fish like tilapia and Nile perch, and we were fortunate basically to stay in a place where they prepared us the local way of actually making these fishes.
Oh, and we also had the birthday cake.
We don't know whose birthday it is. It's always, every day is there's something to celebrate. That
was a fun little surprise.
So it was really interesting, and I think once you enter Tanzania, you see basically the difference. Tanzania is a much larger country than Kenya. It has way more livestock. It has way more arable land. So once we arrived actually to the lake place, when we were going to exit and basically move to the next step in our journey, we stocked up on vegetables, on fruits, and so many things, because Tanzania is basically one of the most, let's say, one of the most stable, one of the most prosperous countries in Africa because of the stability. I think since 1964, when they gained their independence, they have been a peaceful country. No wars, no civil wars, and it is all thanks to this concept of basically we are all one people, we are all one group, we have a common goal of basically developing the country. So it was really interesting, and I think adding to this fact is basically Kenya, the emblem of Tanzania is actually the giraffe, because it's just so majestic and so peaceful. So, and that's what Tanzania is trying to be. And that, I mean, throughout the 10 days trip, I personally never felt unsafe. Never felt unsafe. Maybe we were shielded by being within an intrepid group and so on, but it was so positive when it comes to safety, when it comes to stability and so on. Everybody was smiling. I mean, the kids.
That's what I was going to add. Because we were in our truck, which on the road or anywhere is extremely noticeable, because it's just this giant behemoth driving along the road. But both in Kenya and in Tanzania, you'd be just looking outside and admiring the view, and then you'd pass one of the many schools, and there'd be all these little kids, like 5 to 10 years old, and then they're, smiling, waving, and like shouting hello. It was really heartwarming.
Also, one of the things that I realized, like seeing like my very first day in Africa, is that the kid here very sincere. They're very innocent.
Mm.
I mean, like, when you look at them, the way that they interact with us, the way that they play with each other, I'm sorry to say, but like, I think they are a real kid. Because like, I don't know about like other country, your country, but like, I think like with the development of like technology, and also because the parents are usually busy, and also like the lack of interaction between kids in other country. For example, like thinking about the US, for example, whenever how much time like parents let their kid go out on the street to play with each other. Normally, if they are not there, they will like hire a nanny or like a babysitter to look after them.
Yeah.
But here, like my first day on Zanzibar, I saw like kid, no one watching them. It's just like like hundreds of them playing together. They play with dirt, playing with sand. They just like playing anything with each other. They don't have phone. They don't have anyone to look after them and like say, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you should do this, do that. They are free to express themselves. So they are free to be children. And I think like these days, like most of children all over the world, they miss that part. Because like, you know, with the development of like humanization, like everything, and also because normally I think like as an adult, when we have kids, we think that we know what works best for them. Oh, we should do this for our kid. We shouldn't let them like go out. Like it's so dangerous. It's dangerous that they may be kidnapped or like they maybe like be run over by a car or something like that. But being here make me realize that no, it's not really. we as an adult, we don't know everything. We don't know everything that what is best for the children, for the kid, and then I see them. They have like the best fun of their life. They really have the best time of the children, because like that's also what I used to have in my country, but I don't see that in like kids these days in my country anymore. And I'm not sure about other country, but I think it's not that
not
common.
same.
It's not the same. When you see the kid here, you see like how they interact.
And throughout the trip, I think we've just seen kids in their school uniforms, either coming to school or going out of school, because we were leaving at 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. and maybe arriving some areas at 2 p.m. when people are kids are exiting. It's just unbelievable. I think I caught many of the group members actually saying they were amazed by how many schools they have, and I think this is really makes me happy, because with what I have seen in Africa, with the varied landscape, with the amount of people, with all of that, the only thing missing is basically education. There's basically education to take it to the next level, because there is absolutely no reason for there to be any more struggle. It's just a very rich country with rich resources, from minerals, from agriculture, from manpower, and so on. So the only thing that I think will take it to the next level is basically education, and we were lucky in this trip to see how they are putting a lot of emphasis on this, whether it's in Kenya, whether it's in Tanzania, with basically the visibility of many schools that they are basically having. Throughout the road that we've seen, at least.
And also one of the I think like what Moody say is like very correct, and also I think like they are really going on the right way in terms of education, because like my interaction with there was a day off in our trip, and like I went on a village, and it's just a random village, and based on like our interaction with like people over there, I can definitely see a huge difference in terms of education among like children. Because like basically when we went to the village, because it's not a tourist attraction, so like mostly people live by like farming, growing banana and stuff. So like we couldn't communicate much by English. We just use our sign language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a point at this at that when we communicate with like older generation, maybe like 40, 50 years old, most of people, maybe like 1 out of 10 people can barely like speak English.
Yeah.
But when we talk to most of other kids, like just like 6, 7, 10 years old, they already like can like easily communicate with you in English. And that a surprise to me, because like in like Tanzania is different from Kenya.
Yeah.
Their official language is like Swahili.
Yeah.
And like it's not common. When you interact with adults, you can easily see that, because like in other places when you have a lot of tourists, like people live on by providing like tourism, so they must know English. But when you go to the village, immediately you recognize that no, English is not a thing here. But still, like the kid in these villages, although like the old adult, they don't speak, but like the kid, all of them know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely there is a huge impact of like education, at least in terms of like languages. And I think they also like do in other subjects.
Yeah.
Oh.
Great insight.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting. And then I think when we passed through the tea plantations in Kenya, and then we went through the Lake of Victoria and also in Tanzania, we've arrived to basically, from my opinion is basically the highlight of the trip, which is basically the Serengeti. Serengeti is basically like the Masai Mara, except it's like 10 times bigger. And it's much more varied when it comes to the landscape and the wildlife as well. And we have had the pleasure of actually staying in a camp in the middle of the Serengeti.
Fenceless.
Fenceless, yes. There is absolutely no boundaries between us and the wildlife, which was really interesting.
Do you guys know what does Masai Mara and Serengeti mean?
So Serengeti, was that like endless plains?
Yeah. Serengeti is endless plain.
Yeah.
And Masai Mara is Masai is the word Masai, and Mara is basically means spot.
Spot, yeah.
Yeah, spot.
Yeah,
So,
the Masai spot.
yeah, spot. The spot is to describe like the shade of the cloud that usually have. If you look at the picture that you take, I think that you like recognize like there was like some like when you have a look at over like from the hill and you see there's some shade and spot of like the
shadow being cast from the cloud.
Or like you can also see that in Masai Mara we have like tree very far from each other, and each tree create a spot, a shade for animal, and like very far from each other. But in Masai Mara it's different, is that like some area is like have a lot of trees, but like some like it called endless plain, because like you see like where we see the cheetah, like it's huge, like
never ending.
It's never ending, like that's why we see like endless plain, because like you see like huge plain with nothing, no tree, no like mountain, no hill, just like flat all the way, all the way.
It's crazy. It's Serengeti. I mean,
I have never seen like
open space
like
like
landscape, like an open like land like with nothing. Because normally like it must have something, right? At least a tree or a bush or something like that. But it's just nothing. It's just like really interesting. Although you see nothing, but it's also very interesting to.
So many animals, so many jackals, so many cheetahs, so many birds, so many hyenas. It's just so many. I mean the Serengeti, it's true, it has endless plains, but it also has mountains. It also has like these jungles and trees and rivers
stone
and so
formations.
The stone formations. It's just unbelievable. I mean, I was completely like I will keep saying this. I was completely wrong. Africa is extremely beautiful. Extremely beautiful, and it's a shame that it took me this long to actually visit it. I mean, I was telling Lionel that one of the pledges that I'm putting on myself is basically never to repeat countries that I visited again. The world is just way bigger, way more diverse for us to do the same thing twice again and three times.
But you told me that you will come back to Vietnam to do the
we'll come back to Vietnam to do it with you. And also Ninh Binh, which we didn't see, which I didn't see.
Yeah.
And to do the Hajj and Loop, right? Which I didn't do.
Yeah.
So the idea is not to repeat the same thing. I mean,
like new experiences.
New experiences,
right, yeah.
new experiences.
Yes.
And I think one of the biggest issues that we have back home is basically this affinity with basically going to the same
resort,
whether it's Dubai, whether it's London, whether it's just
the Maldives.
there's just so many other things that you can do in the world.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Right.
it's just I'm blaming myself honestly for not coming to Africa so far. Yeah, so the Serengeti was unbelievable. We slept the first night basically on the roars of lions and the laughs of hyenas. It was just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. Just being in the middle of this vast reserve of wildlife was unbelievable. Yeah.
Were they actual roars of lions?
From so the debate is basically still out there.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I thought that it was. I mean, me and Dog, we were actually intentionally putting sounds of lions in a speaker around the camp. We were actually doing.
Oh, it was you guys.
But it's not.
It's not.
It's not us.
Yeah.
There were other roars of lions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were other roars of lions, real lions. I woke up at 2:30 a.m. with a roar of a lion. I swear it's just 5 meters away from my tent. I mean, through the roars of lions, you can hear them 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers away. So we began doing it as a joke, and then we didn't believe ourselves, and then it actually went to become true. Yeah. At 4:30 a.m., I woke up with the sound of hyenas.
Yeah.
Just laughing. It's just unbelievable. It was so exciting, and just driving around the Serengeti, trying to find the zebra. Yeah.
And also next to our campsite, we see like giraffe, like bamboo,
Baboons.
and like hyenas, like I
zebra,
think
giraffe, baboon, all just around the camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where the baboon are in the camp. I mean, they are fearless animals.
Stealing sandwiches.
It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. And it was really interesting. And what allows us actually to go to these places and just experience it by ourselves is basically by doing it the way Intrepid is designed for it to be done. We have our own chef, our own supplies. We don't need to exit the reserve to find a restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just we are in the middle of it, and the experience really never ends. Even when you drive, you're on a safari. But when you go to the camp, you're still in a safari. You are the one who's staying in the camp, and then the animals are passing by. You are not passing by the animals. So it was really interesting. It was really interesting, and in my opinion, it was one of the highlights. The sunsets every day, the sunrises every day. It's just unbelievable.
I think sort of the sunset, sunrise here, they have a different color.
Yeah.
It's just like like really red, like compared to like other places.
It's like a blood orange color.
Yeah, it is like the sunrise is like blurred, and the sunset is like I don't know how to describe the color, but it is like the color of the other guy who draw on stone. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, the soapstone guy.
The soapstone guy. It's just like. The color is so very matching. Like it is very different color here.
Yeah.
I think like it I think like there's some explanation about like why like the sunset and sunrise they have different color from like other places, but it's very different.
Yeah.
It's not about the size and stuff, but it's about the color. It's just like very different from other places. Because like I'm also a fan of like sunrise and sunset, and like I spend a lot of time every day like watching this, but like it's very different.
This is unique.
Yeah.
It hits different.
Yeah, it's very different. Yeah.
Oh, I also wanted to touch on, because both of you guys did the hot air balloons in the Masai Mara and the Serengeti respectively. What were your feelings of that experience?
to me it's an interesting because it's the first time that I did a hot air balloon, but like I think I was a little bit lucky with the weather. It was a really nice weather day. I was like very amazed by the color of the sunrise because that's actually the first day that I had a sunrise in Africa. The other day I should wake up like at like 7-6 something, and like I didn't really have a scene, and also like watching the sunrise at from a completely different angle, like from the way up there, and I have some like great picture. So like with the picture when the sunrise and like there is another balloon like rising, and like it's very like beautiful, and like we also like see like a lot of animals on our way, and finish like by a very weird like fancy like breakfast when you were in the middle of nowhere with like animals and like elephant dung, and like and then like every like animal like going around, and like you have a fancy fine dining setup with like champagne, like intercontinental breakfast, and like waitress like gathering around. It's like weird. It is a weird experience because like that's also like we spend the first few days in a very kind of like camping where we lack facility. We don't have hot
super
water.
basic.
We
Super basic, yes.
like there was some day that I didn't take shower because like it was too dark already, and like the water is cold, and like and like I can barely go to the toilet because sometimes there were no toilet paper. And then like I came to a place where like, oh, it's the restaurant, and that's breakfast is like better than most of the breakfast I have in like some hotels in city center in developed country. Oh, it's just like it's a weird experience when you see like two extreme of like where
actually I mean Dong did it and he told me about it, and I specifically decided to do it because of this experience. And I can tell you from my experience, I enjoyed basically the most everything about the experience except maybe the balloon ride itself. I mean, the balloon ride itself was so underwhelming because you compare it to the experience doing the game drives with 15 people in the car. Everybody has an eye and everybody's eager basically to spot the animal. It's just way better experience than doing it with a hot air balloon. We didn't see as much animals. Actually, the only animals we saw clearly was elephants, and they were scared from the hot air balloon. He was just looking at us, not moving his eyes and just raising his trunk and moving backward, and he was just really stressed. And then he was telling us, the balloon guy, who was doing it every day for the past 10 years, he's saying that all animals are okay with the hot air balloon except the elephant. So in my experience, I loved everything about it. Waking up, seeing the sunrises, the coffee. They had an amazing coffee, with coffee with ginger and cardamom. I really enjoyed it.
But I think that the process of them blowing up the balloon is also very nice.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Beautiful.
Everything is beautiful except when you are in the balloon itself and just you see the animals from far away. And
but I think that the day you did it also like the weather is not that good.
It was raining. But it cleared up. So it was raining, and there was a 50-50 chance that we will not do it. But we did it at the end. But it wasn't as the game drives were just, in my opinion, were just much better.
I think like to see the animal, the game drive is better. But like the balloon is also like a thing that I try because it's very.
It's an experience. If I go back in time, I will still do it. But I will not do it again. Just a one-time thing. You did it. Okay, I've seen it, and so on.
But it's a weird experience that like you should do.
I enjoyed the breakfast, like you said. I enjoyed the breakfast. Just being in this setting of just in the middle of nowhere under a tree, and suddenly you are presented with this fancy food in this fancy table, and just being served by 3-4 waiters at the same time, and so on. this is just basically the experience by itself. Sometimes it's good to mix it up and just to experience the luxury as well, aside from just basically doing the super basic camping that we were doing.
But it's also weird that, for example, like we won't enjoy like luxury things in a luxury setting, you know, because it's so normal. But here it's different because like it's luxury thing in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's different when you experience it in a resort.
It highlights the luxuriness of the experience itself. It just the contrast, the difference between the two is just it just adds to the experience, and it was really pleasant. Yeah, it was really pleasant. Yeah, so that's on the hot air balloon, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we spent 2 days in the Serengeti. We saw countless lions.
So many lions.
I caught
and the
one-
cubs.
And the cubs, yes.
Yeah, it was a
So
group
many
of,
cubs.
I think it was 15 of them.
Yeah.
And they were all really young. I mean, they were led by the largest cub or the oldest cub. But some of them were just so tiny.
1, 2, 3 months old.
Yeah, and just the cutest.
Yes,
Oh.
yes. We saw more lions than giraffes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
insane.
unbelievable. It's unbelievable. We saw more lions than giraffes. It's really experience, and I think a safari is just something people need to experience. It's not something that you can really explain. Just seeing an animal in the middle of a jungle or in the middle of a desert, it's just not the same as when you experience it yourself. It's just unbelievable.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
like talking about the number of lions that we see, you said that like we see more lions than giraffe.
Yeah.
Like I want you guys to like make a list of rank about how many from like the most animal we see to like the least we see.
I mean zebras, I think.
No, I think like wildebeest.
Wildebeest?
Is the
Yeah.
most.
In the Serengeti, yes, I would
Yeah.
say. Because of the great migration.
Yeah.
Wildebeest, zebras,
Zebra.
impalas, gazelles,
Yeah.
Topies.
topies.
Yeah.
A lot of topies. So many. So
And then like what is the name?
the blue jean gazelle
No.
or the baboons.
No, the baboons rank next, and the next one is the hippos.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
hippos, yeah.
Also, like hippo are more common than I thought,
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot.
and
alligators
yeah,
or
and
crocodiles.
crocodiles are also like more common than I thought, but like we didn't see that much
Yeah.
because they normally they just like
Live
lion
in
and
a specific amount of specific rivers and so on.
yeah. But I think like lions a lot, and then giraffe, and then leopard.
Yeah.
No, elephant also a lot.
Yeah.
I think the elephant
Yes.
more than giraffe,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
like
And then cheetahs and leopards are less than
cheetahs
cheetahs.
and leopard. I think like leopard like
was the rarest.
rare, and rarest is rhino.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
sorry.
Definitely, we
Forgot
only
about
see one
Because-
very far from.
Yeah, I mean leopards are basically they try to to avoid people, but
Yeah.
the rhinos they avoid people and animals as well.
Yeah. I don't understand why, because they're very strong and like they don't really have any predator. Why they hide from?
Oh, but that's the black rhinos because
Yeah.
the white rhinos are pack animals. The
Yeah.
black ones are the solitary.
They don't. Yeah, they try to.
Maybe
avoid
they're
people
just
and avoid-
autistic and they
Who knows, man?
they're not. They just don't want to interact with anyone.
To socialize.
Even their own. You
Yeah,
see,
yeah,
they don't even want to live
Yeah,
with another
Yes.
like
Rhino.
rhino.
Yeah.
And then we left the Serengeti,
Yeah.
and we also came back. I mean, I would keep also saying it's just everything is the highlight of the trip because the Goro crater is just.
It is.
It's unbelievable.
I wish that we have more time in the
Yeah.
room
Yeah,
because like it very dense.
yeah,
It's small area but like a huge number
Yeah.
of like animal, and also there are some animal that we haven't seen on the trip.
yeah.
For example, the flamingo
Flamingos.
and jackals.
Yes.
Jackal also very cute.
Yeah.
But like we
Yeah.
didn't see any
Yes.
like
So
during
it's
that-
basically the Ngorongoro crater is just a crater of a volcano that was formed, I think, millions of years ago,
Yeah.
and the size of it is 260 kilometer. And I've read online that with the amount of animals that exist within it, it's just the closest thing on earth to what you call a Garden of Eden. Just all the animals that you can think of are there. Food is plenty. The land is very fertile. you'd see every single animal that you think of would exist there.
Mm-hmm.
From the lions that are interbreeding
Yeah.
between themselves, and just they are much larger
Yeah.
than the lions in the Masai
They're
Mara or the
chunky.
Serengeti.
Did you notice that most of animal in the crater are like fatter than the other?
Yeah, they're well fed.
The lion they fat, the zebra they're fat. Like everyone like seem like they are pregnant.
Yes. We I think from few minutes we entered the crater, we saw how many? 15 or 16 lions.
More
I
than
think
15 lions.
Yeah, the crater has a total of 30 lions, and we saw immediately
No,
17 lions. 17 we saw.
70 lion.
Yeah.
But like
In total.
Yeah, in total. But it's just unbelievable how big they are. I think one of the reasons is this. Well, I will quote the driver. He says the crater is just an open buffet for them. Too much food for them to actually go and
also the climate there is also I think a little bit different from other
it's more
places. Cooler.
Water is more available. Rain
more
is
water,
more available.
Like more like grass. You see a lot of bird like picking up like food from near the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and also like also you see a lot of fog. I think like it's very different from like other areas.
And it's a unique place in the middle of the crater. You have these marshlands where it's basically I mean swamps of water and vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're closer to the rim or the edges of the crater, you're seeing basically large trees and so on. And once you go up the edges of the crater, you will see it different, like almost like a range angle, or it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And they told us that when you go there, just make sure you bring a jacket with you, because you will see the weather changing every time. You just take the jacket off, on, and so on. Yeah.
True.
I think like I think like it also like in a good like recommendation maybe for Intrepid. I think like we should spend a little bit, maybe not 2 days, but like a little bit more time in the crater. Maybe like a full day, because I think like we only did like half day in the crater.
Just a few hours.
I think like it would be better if we have a full day.
Absolutely.
Have like we start from like 7-8 in the morning and like finish at like 4, something like that. It would be amazing. Because like I think we lack a little bit time in the crater itself, although it's more dense, but I definitely think we need like at least like a full day. That's the only thing that I want to change.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I think the landscape was the most beautiful.
It was great
in the crater itself. I think it's just very unique and different, and from what I've heard is when you drive between the Serengeti and the Ngorongoro crater, it's basically what they have something called the Olduvai Gorge. Which is basically
the cradle of humanity.
The cradle of humanity. They say that the earliest signs of humanity actually exist there, and there are footsteps that are dated 1.5 million years ago. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable with this rift and this fertility and how people actually used to survive and used to thrive on this in this environment. And after we basically finished the crater, we entered basically the first real road that we've seen in the past 4 or 5 days. So it was a really welcomed comfort, and makes you really appreciate things that you didn't really appreciate, from hot showers to basically having a clear road with no corrugation in it. It's just unbelievable. And then we've arrived to Mutombo village.
Towambu.
Before that, we spent a night in other places. I don't know the name. You know the name. Like right out the campsite that we stayed. Like
Kudu
after.
Lodge.
Oh, Kudu Lodge. But
do
you know the name of the town?
Karatu.
Karatu. Yes, you're right. So we spent 1 night.
That was before Towambu.
Yes, before Mutombo.
We have a good night like in the local bar. Africa.
We
can talk about it.
Like it's interesting because I think like I didn't know that, because like at first I thought we stayed in a very small town, and I didn't expect that we have a local bar in it.
Yeah.
And when I came there, it's really surprised
Yeah.
because I didn't know that bar is that big. Because I think it would be like some nice local like smaller bar, but when I went inside, I was surprised by the size of the bar itself, and also like about the people, because they were very friendly, welcoming, and they like the first time in my life that so many women jump on me.
Well, we should probably give a bit of background for the listeners. So we park at this eco lodge called Kudu, and the lodge itself is really fancy, and they have a separate campgrounds where we had set up for the night, and we have dinner and have a bit of time to rest, and later on in the night, basically Dolly arranges for a bunch of tuk-tuks to arrive to the lodge, pick us up, and then take us to this local bar called the Sparrow Lounge. And from the outside it's very unassuming, but then once you go in, it is really big. It's like surprisingly big. But then Dom was kind enough to pay for everyone's entry. There was an entry fee, but he's like, yo, it's on tonight. And so
I want people to get drunk and get fucked up, but like I end up to be the only one who were drunk, because like most people like only have 1 or 2 drinks. Moody maybe have 3 drinks, and like I was the only one have like I didn't count, but like I tried to drink as much as possible to get more drunk, because like everyone around seemed to have a lot of fun, and like I just want to be a little bit crazy, have a memorable night in Africa. And it is actually like interesting. And then like when everybody already left at like 10 something,
10
and like I and Moody and Cha stay and for like maybe an hour more. It's fun.
I also want to add, sorry Moody, for additional just context flavor. So Dom wears glasses, but he broke his glasses, so he's now using his prescription sunglasses, and as we're recording this, he is currently wearing his prescription sunglasses, and he's had them on for how many days now? Like 4 days? 5 days, yeah. And so people were drawing parallels between Dom and Leslie Chow from The Hangover.
I look really like him, We are both Asian, and like
it's the funniest comparison, man. And now Dolly's gonna watch The Hangover because of that, so he knows what we're talking about. But yeah, Moody, do you want to add to that?
I think it was really interesting, and it was really fun. It's just part of the culture to see how people basically enjoy their time after basically it was full of outside of the place, full of safari cars. So it was something really popular for people to actually do.
I didn't know that before, and I think like people are. I was in like some other country like in Sri Lanka and stuff like that, but like I think like people here are very, they are very open, and they are not shy to express themselves. I mean like women here, to be honest, I'm not saying like I wouldn't use the word aggressive, but like they are very open. They express themselves. For example, when they like you, they approach. They are not shy. They don't sometimes like in other culture, I think like when maybe they like you or something, but like they control themselves, and they wait for you to approach them. But I think like here like especially women, they are very they feel free to express themselves, and when they like you, they approach you. I have like different culture like
Yeah.
both in the bars
Unique,
and
yeah.
outside the bars.
Right.
Yeah.
And then like they just say no, I'm Maasai girl. I want to express myself. I think I like you.
Yeah.
Like and stuff like that. And she straight up asked me opinion about her appearance and like whether I like her and whether like I want a relationship with like a black woman and stuff like that. I was really surprised. At first I thought like she teasing me.
Yeah.
Like she just like
Messing with you.
messing with me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like after that like she keep texting.
Right.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's weird. Like she asked for my shirt and like asked for my WhatsApp and stuff and like
Wow.
after that like, she keep texting. And also in the bar I don't know but like these women like different women they just like really hitting on me.
Yeah.
No, it's just weird because like in any other country I've been to, like I'm not attractive for the context, like so you guys understand that. I'm
Say that,
just like
Tom.
look like stupid and like crazy, like inappropriate, like Asian. But like people keep jumping on me. I don't know, but like it's just weird. This is the first time that like so many women like hitting on me in the last few days.
Right.
Yeah, and actually there was also other like encounter when I was
maybe
in
it's the sunglasses. Maybe
Yeah.
just continue wearing
No,
sunglasses.
the other time when I was in the national like Nairobi National Museum, Kenya National Museum, there were also like there was like some girls like they approached and like I didn't wear my sunglasses back then.
Okay.
But like, but it's not. I'm not trying to say like I'm attractive to them, but like, I just think the culture is different. At that the women they are very forward,
Yeah.
and like they don't feel shy to express themselves.
Yeah.
They don't wait for the man to.
Yeah,
start with,
that's what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like in my culture, even if like a woman like a man, usually they try to like hold themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they have very roundabout ways.
Yeah. But here like people straight up
Just boom.
forward.
Yeah.
Like they come and dance with you and like ask you number and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, interesting.
Moody is very sad because he already married.
He's taken. And I was gonna be all up in there.
Yeah. It was a really interesting night. It was just really different. Yeah.
But I felt like you weren't that drunk when you came back.
No, I was a little bit drunk because like.
Yeah, I mean you were tipsy.
But I'm tipsy. But like it's hard for me to get really drunk on
yeah.
beer.
Right.
Or like I have to drink it like for a lot hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a nice experience, and I think all facilitated by Doc. And it wasn't as what we hoped for.
Yeah.
What we hoped for. But basically, because we had to go back and just basically start the day.
Yeah, and next day we have very early morning.
Yeah.
Very,
like-
very early morning, yes.
But like if we have more time and like people have like to be more relaxed, yeah, I think like they will drink more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, so basically we continued with our journey.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Mutombo village.
Yeah.
And it was really unique and different than any other village. It was one of the most fertile places I've ever seen.
Mm.
They grow rice, they grow banana, they grow cassava,
Sugar
they grow
cane.
beans, they grow sugar cane,
Yeah.
they grow maize. Every single thing you can think of, they can grow there because of this fertility of the crater that is coming from basically this whole area.
Mm.
And I believe if you could just put any plant, it will just grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. And what was interesting that you would think usually when it comes to the idea of East Africa or South Africa, you think that people are struggling when it comes to food. But the tour guide with the tour that we did is saying that never in the history of that area where people struggled for food.
Yeah, that's the area is I think it very different from other places that we went to.
Yeah.
That populated area,
Mm-hmm.
and also like the area seemed to be prosperous. I mean, like compared to other like part of the trip that we went on, because like I see like people have nice houses, you know, the different houses, and like I and Tara went on like a different route that we went on very random like route, like small, and we really want to go deep inside, and like people have nice houses, and also everyone seemed very happy. But it's not in a it also very authentic in a way that because most people like Moody said like they live mainly on like agriculture. They don't mainly rely on tourists. So like I think like people there are very authentic. I mean like they live by their own way. They don't try to harass you to buy thing, and like it's just like they live their own way, and they don't even speak English, and like it's just like very authentic, and like people are very friendly. I and Tara was just lost in the middle of nowhere, and like people keep asking us to, although they don't know how to communicate with us, they just keep like get sugar cane and like stuff that they have in the house to invite us to eat, and like laughing with us, and like ask us to take picture with them, and like have some picture, and like they're very cute,
very friendly.
They're very friendly. They don't speak English at all, but like they try to understand you. They ask your name, and like
they're not trying to sell you anything.
Don't. Yes. They give us free food.
Yes.
Because that's who they are. They're just very generous people.
And also like I think like they mainly live on agriculture, and it's not a touristy kind of like place. So like the interaction is real, because like they barely see. Because we went on a very like small road. Like they barely see any like foreigner. And like they really curious and very friendly. They want to treat us as a friend instead of like tourists.
It was really friendly, so we were fortunate actually to do. I mean, not like Don just wandered by himself within the village, and you guys were invited into one of the homes, right?
Yeah.
So for us, we did it like the formal way, which is basically with a local guy. He did a walking tour with us. And it was really, really interesting. We learned a lot about many things, and we learned when rice was introduced to this area, I think like 50, 60 years ago. And rice is really preferred in this to make many dishes. One of it is like pilau, and we've been to a local bar where they manufacture basically banana beer and banana wine. And then basically they have this weird thing of basically weird custom, which is basically there is a tribe that does this, is that they use this banana beer to determine the DNA of the boy, and that basically if you are basically the father of a child and you are wondering whether your child is actually your child because he looks different. So what you need to do is basically you take you take banana beer, and then you mix it, and you put a line, you pour it on the floor through a line, and then the mother and the child that you have in doubt about will jump over this line, and if the child is not dead or mentally ill within 2 weeks, he's truly your child. And if he's dead or mentally ill, means that he's not your child. You didn't know.
Straight up.
I wasn't on that.
So this is one of the cultural aspects of that area. So it was really interesting, and we ended it with basically having a lunch of 14 or 16 dishes. And probably, in my opinion, it was one of the best meals
it was
of
very
the
good.
trip. You would have beans, sweet potato, beef, maize, so many dishes, and cooked in a very lovely way. They don't use a lot of spices, they don't use a lot of flavoring. You just taste the ingredient itself.
The quality of the ingredients.
The quality of the ingredients itself. So this experience, I would say, is just amazing contrast between what we have done. We were focused on safaris, game drives, focusing on nature. This time we were really focused on culture. And we saw how people actually living within these villages.
True. Yeah. Well, one little tidbit that I had experienced while we were in Mtowambu was the driver of the tuk-tuk that took me and two others to the lunch place. Well, he asked me where I was from, and I said New Zealand, And then he said, "Oh, my cousin goes to an agricultural college in New Zealand." And I'm like, what? So this guy, the tuk-tuk driver, he's a university student at a university local to that area. And he has pretty good English, and it's currently his university break, so he's just driving a tuk-tuk for additional income between semesters. And yeah, that really took me back. You'd never expect,
the backgrounds of people are just unbelievable.
Yeah, so I don't know, that was just really cool.
And basically from doing this trip, so we had an option basically to come to Arusha, and we had the pleasure of actually spending basically one of the last days in Arusha, in a camp, in a hotel. And in that day we were
the name
fortunate.
of the hotel.
Yeah, what is it? Ngiro Climax.
Climax.
Everything was like has sexual connotations to it in that hotel. All the signs and everything. You just need to pay attention. But we were really also fortunate basically to not do anything. We arrived early in that hotel and we had no activities planned, and everybody was not really eager to do any activity because. Not only because we were exhausted from the 10-day trip, but people just wanted to spend this last day because we know this is the last day. And I can tell you one of the biggest parts of this trip, and we talked about the safaris, right, the animals, and we talked about the landscape, but for me the third element is basically the group itself. It's basically, I would say, it ruined solo travel for me. I don't think I could do it anymore. Right. I mean, we had days where we spent 12 hours in the truck. I didn't feel it's 12 hours. I felt like it's 1 or 2 hours. Yeah. Because so many conversations with so many interesting people, so many eager to know about each other, to do this experience. It's just unbelievable. So in the last day, everybody was eager just to stay together and just talk and just spend this last time where we reached basically almost to a level of almost feeling like a family. Yeah. We really genuinely care about other people, whether they are, okay, happy and so on. I mean, for me, I've never had this with a group, to be this close. I mean, usually the experience that I do is basically a group where it's like one day, okay? You barely can make, this connection. And you know that, why put the effort? Because you're basically going to be staying with these people for one day, right? Yeah. And after that, maybe you'll not see them. But I think all of us in the group, the 15 or the 18 actually, even the crew, we all put the efforts because we know we're staying we're together for 10 days. So we just needed to know more about each other and it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. For me, like I said, it's just the third element is just the group. It was just unbelievable. I mean, the diversity, right? We didn't speak about the diversity.
It is the most diverse group. I've done many group tours at this point, and it's the most diverse group by far. But it's also the least problematic. Like, everyone just got along so well. Yeah,
clicked.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah, the crew as well. Just everything was so.
Because
great.
they normally in an interest trip, you are mixing randomly with like other people, but like in this trip particularly, they have an agent who pretend to be a client, you know.
Yeah. But I think the diversity, we had people from Australia, we had people from New Zealand, we had people from Germany, we had people from the UK, we had people from Italy,
Morocco,
we had people from Morocco.
And from Saudi Arabia.
Me and Dong are the rhinos of the group, right? They don't usually get many people from Saudi Arabia. I think the tour guide was saying that I'm the first person. Yeah. So this diversity of background, it just made everything very interesting.
I mean, I think myself included, you are the first Saudi Arabian person that we've interacted with. Yeah. I mean, maybe you've seen them on passing, but they never actually just, hey, how are you? You know. Everyone was like so curious to learn about your culture and
everybody. And for me, I appreciated everybody was very inquisitive. what is this country? How are you doing this and so on?
Yeah.
And then they genuinely just wanted to know more. I mean, honestly, I maybe this is a cliche, but honestly, after doing this grip with this trip, the diversity that we had, you just honestly believe in humanity, that we could live in a world where there's peace, because you have people from all walks of life, different backgrounds as well. We had bakers, we had finance people, we had professional poker players,
or professional cricket players.
we had people in fintech, we had doctors, we had nurses, we had management consultants. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. Even if somebody would design this trip, he couldn't do this diversity.
Yeah.
It's just I mean, destiny just put people together.
We have a drug dealer. We have Tara to drug to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, but honestly, it's just so much fun. It was so much fun.
It really was.
Talking to people and just the experience itself, every single element. Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for the tour. Do you guys have any plans for after this?
For me, yes, I'm doing the Uganda trip for sure.
Yeah.
I'm doing the Uganda trip, which is basically see the gorillas, but maybe in somewhere in February or March, somewhere at that time. And I'm doing a trip with Dong. We're doing a trip with the Hajan Loop and the Ninbin, hopefully. The ones that the two experiences I didn't do in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll visit him soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then tomorrow.
And tomorrow, tomorrow we're continuing with the game drives. We love the game drive so much, and there is an option here to do something in Nairobi called Nairobi National Park, which is basically a big national park close to Nairobi, but you have way more better chance to actually see the animals that you didn't see, like the rhinos. We saw everything. We saw the rhino, but it was so far from a distance. We didn't really enjoy or fully see the rhino, I would say. So maybe we are trying to compensate for that in this national park.
Right.
So we're doing one more safari. Yeah.
We have extra days compared to other people.
Yeah.
So the majority of our group has left to Zanzibar, and a few have headed back home already, and we're the final 3 in this hotel. Well, I'm leaving in a few hours to Delhi for my 6th Intrepid tour, which will be very wild, huh?
Is it like a wide range of ages trip?
Yeah, this is a unrestricted age trip. Okay. So we'll see how that goes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I hope that you find another Mr. Chang.
That would be great.
In a trip.
Yeah, do you guys have any final remarks? Or?
Final remarks, I would say...
Go to Africa.
Go to Africa, yeah. Africa is very beautiful. I mean, the people are extremely nice. And just doing it with a group just made it to the next level. I mean, so just take the leap and just do these group trips. And hopefully you will be lucky and you just get a good group who just will enhance the experience.
And also, I think it's not easy to solo traveling in Africa. Yeah. And it's very expensive and also very hard to navigate by your own in Africa. Yeah.
Whereas in this situation, we could pretty much turn our brains off because everything was handled by our crew.
I think that contributed. Everybody was saying this aspect. Usually for me, when I travel, I travel solo, I decide everything. And because I'm doing the experiences and I'm choosing the experiences, there are days where you say, I'm exhausted, I'll just slow down. And then you don't do it and you just waste these days. And even when I go with my friends or my family, I'm the one who's managing the trip. I'm the one who's planning everything. In this trip, you just shut your brain and just go along with everyone. And it was designed by experts who knew that people would be tired on the 3rd day, so they will slow down and so on. So it was well paced. It was very exciting. we didn't feel there's any downtime, and if there were downtime, it was only for a few hours, and it was a welcome downtime.
It was necessary.
It was necessary to just to relax after the big experiences that we had. So for me, it's just doing it with a group is a no-brainer if you choose the right trip and if you choose the right company, right? Yeah, Intrepid did an amazing job, honestly.
Yeah. Great.
Are you like going to become an ambassador of Intrepid? Like we did a lot of like marketing for them.
Well deserved, my friend. Well deserved.
This podcast is basically just one giant plug for Intrepid. So.
One Intrepid after the other. Yeah. Maybe we'll sponsor it.
Hey, I don't mind. Yes. That could be a new career pathway.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I don't know if you have anything to add, but yeah.
Yeah, I was going to thank you guys. Yeah, thanks so much for taking the time. I know you guys have an early morning to go on your game drive, but I hope you enjoyed your first podcasting experience.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for inviting us.
Yes, thank you for this idea of actually doing it. I mean, I'm sure I will go back to this podcast and it will work as a diary, right?
Yeah.
I'm very happy that you invited us to be part of this collection that you're having.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can always look back on it, several years in the future and be like, oh yeah, I did that. And it's just a nice way of time captuling things. So, great. Okay, well, thanks guys. And until next time.